Again, welcome to the first City Council meeting for the month of June. At this time, Ms. Apple will say the invocation, and after that, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Apple, everyone stand, please.
We'll just have a moment of silence and pray to the religion you wish to pray to give us strength in these turbulent times that we have with leadership, both in the country and in our city, and ask God to give us strength to make the right decisions. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Appa. Mr. Hanlon, please note that all members of the City Council are present this evening, and Mr. Glazier, our controller, has joined us, and Sean, our assistant solicitor, has joined us also. Courtesy of the floor, if you're speaking as an individual, 3 minutes. If you're speaking for a group and association, 5 minutes. Yes, sir, Mr. Hirschman.
Thank you, Mr. President. 405 North Gilmer Street, Hamilton, Pennsylvania. Since the controller's here, I'm sure he's going to make that vehicle report this evening.
What report?
The vehicle, you know, when you 13 vehicles, what's called, how many are going home, we don't know.
Mr. Hirschman, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you left too early last time, am I right? You gave a fleet report.
I did, but I would take a second and respond to you, Mr. President. When we did the fleet audit, we audited the AIM that's there, which is apparently different than the ordinance. The AIM was never updated, unfortunately. So we audited to the AIM. We did note in the finding that 2 cars were taken home for commuting purposes, and that proper taxes were probably not assessed, and that was a finding. In the audit, there were no other findings against the AIM. I reviewed the ordinance, Mr. President. I do have some questions about how to interpret it. I have forwarded my questions to the solicitor, and when I hear back, I'll be happy to pursue it further, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And then he'll put it in writing, and we can all read it then, right?
Absolutely.
We'll put it in writing, and we can all read it.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, my next thing, last week you brought up about police officers. We're 7 short, we're 7 patrolmen short, we're captain short, we're sergeant short, we're deputy chief short. We have like 12 police officers short in the police department. And then you read the finance report, we're $8 million in a whole difference in revenue and expenditures. And then when you read the finance report, the finance director took out a $3.6 million out of that report that you use to balance the budget. And the finance director still hasn't made the transfer. You know, you would reach an agreement with city council to provide raises, and other agreement was made, and it was when told to tell it that we were on a budget. That money hasn't been transferred. This evening, there's 2 new bills you're going to introduce. Money coming unencumbered balance to the general fund. We have no unencumbered balance, Mr. Chairman. So what are we doing? Short of money. So what are you doing? Substituting public safety to try to raise the money to make up the difference so we don't have a deficit. Taxpayers downtown, Mr. Chairman, paid to have public safety now. That's part of real estate taxes. And I think it's unfair that the mayor and the finance director is doing what's introduced to the city of downtown taxpayers. I think what you have to do, Mr. Chairman, is bring the mayor in here and start questioning him. Is he substituting public safety, trying to balance the budget? Because we're short, Mr. Chairman. You don't take $3.6 million that you put in there to balance the budget, and now you don't have it in there. Now we have an $8 million deficit. Mr. Chairman, something has to be done. And the longer we wait, there's no public safety, Mr. Chairman. I wish you would either subpoena the mayor, bring him in here and start answering questions on public safety. But just, you know, he was just at the Midway Manor, I understand. He's bragging about $19 million unrestricted funds he had. Where is it? I don't know where it's at. Maybe council knows where it's at. I mean, he has a slideshow that he shows everybody downtown on his re-election campaign, all the money he had. But we have deficits, Mr. Chairman. We're taking money out of the unencumbered balance, so we have no unencumbered balance. How do you take money out of your pocket, Mr. Chairman, if you have none? I mean, something has to be done, Mr. Chairman. We can't continue to roll we're going on in city finances. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Hirschman. Anyone else courage for the floor? Hello, Mr. Perry. Good, name and address for the record, please.
I represent the NAACP Allentown here. I'm not gonna talk 5 minutes, so don't worry. No, I just wanna, just acknowledge the NAACP had a Black Healthcare Summit, Monday, and, it was a wonderful event. And I just wanna acknowledge, Councilman Cynthia Mota. She showed up, stayed for the whole entire event, and ate, and the food was good. Councilman, Julio Guidi helped promote the event for me. Candida, of course, helped promote the event, and I just wanted to, give them a shout out, supporting the NAACP and Black Health in Allentown, and help fight the, HIV and hepatitis C that's killing and affecting the community of Allentown. I am going to continue to do this event every year, and next year I hope that more city council members come out and support, the event, the NAACP and the Black community. You'll have a great time. The information is overwhelming, so I welcome and invite all of you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Mr. President,
Ms. Mota, go ahead.
what I would like to say is that Mr. Perry did a wonderful job with the event. It was well attended. I just hope that more people will show up. Hopefully, every year, so we need really more support. I think that the information was really amazing, and I just hope that this will continue every year. But he did a wonderful job with the event. Thank you for doing this, and helping the community. They are doing a great job, the NAACP. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mota. Anyone else courage for the floor? Ms. Apple, go ahead.
I'd like to encourage you to keep this going. I know in the gay community we had FACT. It's been going on for over 20 years, and it was education, all the educational things that we've learned, because we had events every year, the ball, the games we played, but all of that, it afforded us testing, it afforded us knowledge, learning experiences, the health department there. So I think for the African American community, I encourage you to keep it going, and hopefully you can continue it like the 25 years they did for FACT.
Yes, thank you. FACT, or board members of FACT were my speakers. And I went to FACT, and I go to the board meetings, and you own the building. But, and you do a great job for FACT and with the games, and initiated and originated. You do wonderful things for HIV/AIDS and the community and everything. And I'm from your community, so you're one of our leaders, and I look up to you. And I'm going to miss you in your business and what you do for the LGBT community. So I support you and commend you and thank you for what you've done for us. And I just took from the LGBT community the education and knowledge and connections, and then I just transferred that and looked at, okay, my community, the Black community, which is suffering terribly. I mean, we are 46 to 50% of all new infections of HIV, and about half of Black gay men are HIV infected. And I lost my late wife to HIV/AIDS, and I had to do something. And FACT of Lehigh Valley is the #1 organization that fights and funds people that are affected with HIV and AIDS. And I went to the experts, and they put on a marvelous show. The video and clips are soon to be on Facebook. Thank you.
Mr. Perry, just one question for you. Do you know Miss Apple's new name? Do you know her new name?
And also, the movie's out now, and she does resemble me.
Did you read the article in the paper? Did you read the the article in the paper? And Ms. Opolo did a great article. She was referred to as Wonder Woman,
Yes.
so we now call her. Huh?
Well, if you come to our bar and start trash, she will treat you like one of them.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Always good to see you.
All right.
Anyone else courtesy of the floor? Seeing none, approval of the minutes by common consent? So moved. Okay, we'll move right along. We will go to reports from committees. Oh, hold on, now we'll go to old business. Any old business? Seeing none. Communications. Executive session announcement. City Council held an executive session on May 31st at 4:30 p.m. with the city solicitor to review potential litigation involving Cedar Beach Pool renovations, a personnel issue, and a police lawsuit. These subject matters are an exception to the open meeting requirement under the Sunshine Law. Now we'll go to reports from committees. Committee of the Whole, I'll take that one. Committee of the Whole met last Wednesday, May 31st at 6:30, and we forwarded Bill 5 to the full council this evening with amendments, and that refers to term limits for the mayor. Budget and Finance, Mr. Greedy.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met on May 31st, reviewed the monthly finances. The city still has some funding there to maintain what's going through the month. It was for the month of April. And we also discussed the vacancy of some of the vacancies that are pretty much astronomical and very high in the city. And we will have a next committee meeting on June 14th at 5:30 p.m. To review Bill 37, which is being introduced this evening.
Thank you, sir. Community and Economic Development, Dr. McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has not met since the last council meeting. Future meeting has not yet been scheduled.
Thank you, sir. Human Resources, Administration Appointments, Ms. Appa.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has not met since the last council meeting. A future meeting has yet not been scheduled.
Thank you, ma'am. Parks and Recreation, Ms. Moda.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has not met since the last council meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for June 21st at 5 p.m.
Thank you, ma'am. Public Safety, Mr. Hendricks.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met this evening just prior to this meeting, and Bill 30 was discussed and will be forwarded to the full council later this evening for a vote.
Thank you, sir. Public Works, Mr. McLean.
Mr. President, thank you. We met on the 23rd of May. There are two pending bills on tonight's agenda, and we're meeting again on the 21st of June.
Thank you, sir. Rules Chambers Intergovernmental Relations Strategy, that's my committee. The committee has not met since the last council meeting. The future meeting has not yet been scheduled. Ad hoc Committee on Inclusionary Zoning, co-chairs Mr. Greedy and Dr. McGuire. Who wants to take the update?
Yeah, we haven't had a meeting. Like I said last time, we did get a report from Mr. Leitner and the white paper that we're waiting for, and we are scheduling a meeting on June 14th. June 14th. What time is that?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. I think that's what it's 6 o'clock p.m. So that will be the inclusionary housing issue, and also low and moderate income housing will be discussed as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. City Controller's report, Mr. Glazier.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a report. And for the record, Mr. President, all the audits are online for anybody to peruse in the comfort of their own home.
Thank you very much.
The report I have is the accounts payable weekly check review from 4/29/17 through 5/26. We reviewed 451 checks for approximately $4.5 million. We reviewed a total of 9 wires for a total of $1.4 million. There were 4 findings from that audit, sir. The first one is there was a first-class ticket purchased in violation of AIM 3-1-02. The AIM states that economy rates shall be used for bus, train, and airplane travel. Advantage of round-trip fares must be taken wherever possible. We identified 1 employee travel and expense report, which included an airline ticket purchased for a first-class ticket. The response from the administration was the ticket was a last-minute purchase, and the only fare available leaving from Allentown was a first-class ticket, and the ticket was purchased prior to the final approvals in Eden. Finance contacted the controller's office to discuss the issue, and proper control procedures were discussed the check was released. We had one check with $33 in late fees. The reason that some staff was out and they didn't get to it quite as quickly as they wanted to, the check was released. We had 11 checks that were paid late from spread over 9 different departments, and they were all advised of this, and we got the explanations. And there was a small amount of sales tax paid on one invoice, and the department has acknowledged that it was an oversight, and we'll work diligently to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that is my report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Glazer. Appointments, Ms. Apple, we'll go to, we see we have 2 appointments tonight.
Mr. President.
Mr. McLean, you have a question for Mr. Glazer?
I do.
Go ahead.
How do we approve a first-class ticket? I mean, that's 101. Why was it that late and we haven't found
I'm
out
not
that
disagreeing with you. It was for a conference that a number of people were scheduled to go to. One conference person who was going to go couldn't go for health reasons. They picked an alternate, and I think the decision was that they all wanted to fly out together from Allentown. And at that late date, the only seat out of Allentown was a first-class ticket. As I know, the controller's office took exception to it, and I think it would probably be a good idea to revisit that aim. So I certainly share your concerns, sir.
Mr. Hartzell, you have a follow-up?
Yes. To answer Mr. McLean's concern, it is a very serious concern. There was a conference that several of the staff from the city were going to in Texas to get training on our Eden system to properly utilize our financial system backbone. And one person had to, for reasons of illness, had to back out, and we had an opening that popped up about 4 or 5 days before the conference was to start. And I was made aware of the person going to do it, and I suspect that from Allentown to San Antonio, you are not going to get a whole lot of really cheap fares 5 days out. When I saw it, I did look at it, and I probably should have asked if it was a first class, although given the time frame, it didn't really look that unsurprising to me at that point. But upon discovering that, I made sure that I let the controller's office know, and we will be much more vigilant on that going forward.
Okay. Thanks. I just have a problem with it.
Understood.
I mean, somebody probably could have flown out of Philadelphia cheaper. I mean, I understand they all wanted to fly together. There's a lot of things I want to do and I can't, but.
And your point is very well taken on that, and that would have been my response as well. And just to, echo what Mr. Hartzell said, and the report certainly references that, is that the finance department did call the controller's office on that.
No, my faith is in you guys. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
We'll do our best.
Okay, we'll go to Mr. Grady.
My sentiments are the same, Mr. McLean. But I'm thinking, if you have a number of people from the city to go to a training on, you said it was on, what was the training about?
It was training on functionality of our Eden system with the backbone. And in fact, we had coordinated every other ticket prior to that point, and then one person backed
No,
out.
I understand. My comment was in regards to why don't you bring the trainer over here? Wouldn't it be cheaper to do that?
In this instance, there was the Eden conference being held in San Antonio was actually offering up a wide variety of topics that were going to be important for IT people to be there, for finance people to be there, for community and economic development people to be there. It was, in that place, an opportunity for all of them at what I think was a pretty reasonable cost for the conference to go there and pick up those skills, which we are going to use in great detail during the upcoming year. And we are actually planning at some point on a couple of these issues to bring someone in later in the year on a couple of specific topics, but that has to be planned well in advance, and it is rather costly. So to get 4 people out the way that we did, yes, that ticket shouldn't have happened, but the overall cost of it was really was not out of line.
By the way, if you do, as the chair of the finance committee, if you do bring need somebody to do a training, please let me know so I can attend as well.
All right, I will keep that in mind, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on council? Mr. Leisure, thank you. We'll go to appointments with Ms. Appa. I see we have 2 appointments for this evening. We'll start with the one for the Human Relations Commission.
Yes, Mr. President, we have the very first one, her name is Inga Williams, and her term would expire 12/31/2019. This is for Human Relations Board. Do I have any comments from my colleagues on this?
Dr. McGuire, go ahead.
Yes. I move that we change consideration for this position without bias to the candidate for the position to a future date.
What you are saying is you want this to be tabled.
Yes,
Let's use the terminology you would like this tabled,
yes,
correct?
please table this
Okay, that motion has been made.
without bias to the candidate.
Motion has been made. Do I have a second?
I'd like to make a second, Mr. President.
We have a second on the
I'd
motion.
like to make a comment with that.
No, I don't think any comment should be made until we go forth with this motion. A motion has been made, it has been seconded by Dr. McGuire made the motion, it's been seconded by Mr. Hendricks. Mr. Hanlon, I want you to take a voice vote. A yes vote would mean, and I'll ask our solicitor for clarification, a yes vote would mean we're in favor of tabling. A no vote would mean, I'm doing this for the public also, a no vote would mean we're not in favor of tabling this. Mr. Hanlon, let's start. Go ahead.
Okay, there's a motion to table the appointment to a future date. Ms. Appa?
No.
Mr. Greedy?
No.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
I'm gonna vote no.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes,
Ms. Moda?
No,
Mr. O'Connell?
No.
Mr. Redbeard? I have, the motion fails, the appointment is in front of you.
Okay, the motion fails. Continue with continue with the appointment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do I have any comments from the public on this?
No comments from us first.
Any comments from,
Council first.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, that's okay.
Any comments from my colleagues?
Just a quick comment, I think, Ms. Inga, and it's a great candidate, and I'm sure she'll do the right thing in the Human Relations Commission, so I certainly would be supportive.
Thank you, Mr. Greedy. Mr. Hendricks, comment?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I want to make it very clear that this has nothing to do with the candidate. I think she's well qualified. It has something to do, everything to do with some recent events that have occurred regarding the board that are very troubling. I cannot in good conscience approve any new members for that board at this time. The reason we have the vacancy on that board is because of some actions the mayor has taken. And again, very troubling, and I do not want to subject anybody else to such conduct. Again, it has nothing to do with the candidate. Thank you.
Any other comments? Go ahead. Go ahead, Ms. Appa. It's your committee.
I looked over Ms. Williams' application and I'm impressed. And the way I see it, it's about her application and her job that she can do. This is why I'm voting for her to be on this commission.
Ms. Moda, go ahead. Thank you, Ms. Appa.
I believe that we need good people in the Human Relations Commission, and I believe that she's well qualified, and I know that she's going to do a great job, and that's why I would like to see her there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moda. Anyone else on council? Mr. McLean, then.
Real quick. I share your concerns, Mr. Hendricks, with what transpired on the Human Relations Commission. And I'm hoping, having seen her resume, I'm hoping maybe she can step up to the plate and maybe give some leadership in the Human Relations Commission. So I'm hoping that will overcome it. And I agree with you with your concerns, but I
I'd like to make a comment. I too read every appointment that comes forth, and Ms. Williams is more than qualified. Her resume is outstanding. She's worked in the community. She's a well-respected individual in the community. I have full faith in what she'll do for the Human Relations Commission, and I will definitely support her appointment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do we have any comments from the public? Dr. Spencer?
Yes, good evening. My name is Dr. Spencer.
Yeah, wait to come up here, Dr. Spencer.
My name is Dr. Spencer, and I'm trying to get a feel for what we're voting for here. I don't know, I need an explanation. What has happened in the human relations? You're touching upon it, but you're not telling us what the trouble is or what the problem, why this woman should not come on board.
She is coming on board.
She's coming on board. I mean, what are the problems? Is there, we said there's serious problems, and we're sitting out here in the audience, and you haven't shared what the problem is. And I think we have a right to know something, so that we can better understand too.
Go ahead.
I think the best way to address that would be there are two people who have recently left the board, and probably the best thing to do would be to ask those two people, Mr. McDuffie and Miss. Actually, three.
There were three people.
Three people, yeah, who have just left the board and probably.
Are they here?
No.
I don't know. They're not here. Well, can you say who those people are if we would want to contact them?
It doesn't, I think you need to talk to Ms. Appa, who's the chair of this committee, aside. Basically, what you're saying and asking is irrelevant to the appointment, okay? We have a 5-2 vote to appoint Inga Williams to the Human Relations Commission. You can get the information from the
I don't mind doing that, but I'm just saying that you've been going back and forth saying that because of, but you haven't said what the because is. And I think we have the right to know.
You do, but not in this forum.
All right, so you said.
Yep.
Dr. Spencer?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It is good to see you. I still remember you from elementary school.
Tell my age now.
Dr. Spencer, I've known you for a long time, and tons of respect for you, and you're absolutely right. You, as president of the NAACP, you need an answer. What is happening here? We don't have enough time tonight to do so, but we will meet with you, and I'd be more than happy to sit in that meeting and tell exactly what's going on.
I feel as though that's a fair answer, and I'm going to meet with you.
We'll meet after the meeting, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you, Dr. Spencer.
Are there any other comments from the public? Not seeing none. Can we have a vote? We did vote.
No, we voted.
Oh, we did vote yet?
We only voted a motion.
It's been long.
Voice vote also.
Here we go, Mr. Hanlon.
Okay, on the appointment of Ms. Williams, Ms. Appa,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks,
No.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. McGuire, Ms. Moda,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
There's 5 yeas and 2 nays.
Okay, now is Ms. Williams here?
Is she here? Are you here tonight?
Ms. Williams here tonight?
Is Ms. Williams here tonight?
She is
Is
not.
she here? No.
No, she's not.
Okay.
Go to our second one.
We'll go to the, she has been approved, and congratulations to you, Ms. Williams. I know that you're gonna do a good job. We now have, the second one is for Water and Sewer Compliance Board. It's Donald Lickey, and his term will end 5/1/2021. Do I have any comments from my colleagues?
Just one, I know Mr. Lichty had worked for the city for many years, and I think he's a fine addition to the board with his experience.
Do I have any others from my comments from my colleagues? No. Anybody from the public on the, okay, Mr. Hahn?
For the public, Tom Hahn, 2016 Asylum. For the public, can you explain the cost of the compliance board? The last report I saw.
It's irrelevant?
No,
I'm telling you right now. Hold it, time out. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. We had a water and sewer compliance meeting, what, 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
There were many questions asked. The compliance people were here. Okay, were you here that night? Were you here that night?
Yes, sir.
You could answer any questions at that meeting. We are voting on Mr. Donald Lichty.
In light of what she said.
I'm gonna tell you
you're
what,
just
in
trying to get
about
your-
1 minute, I wanna say you're out of order, and I wanna have you removed.
And then I'm gonna ask you on Robert's Rules point of order, will you address my statement at another time?
When we have another water and sewer compliance meeting, absolutely
No,
positively.
I'm saying, so that I can walk away here, not having the bully pulpit chase me around.
It's not chasing around. Let's stay
No,
on the
it's a
agenda.
question
It's
on-
irrelevant. It is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. We're voting on Mr. Donald Lichty. You had your bite at the apple.
Thank you, Mr. Hahn.
No. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. I'm the president. You had your bite of the apple 2.5 weeks ago. You could ask any questions you wanted. When we have another, wait till I'm finished. When we have another water and sewer compliance meeting, more than welcome. And in all fairness, your question would have been better addressed at courtesy of the floor rather than here. So take it. Go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, so I'll have to admit to not remembering everything to bring up at the courtesy of the floor. I'll give you that. But when the time comes to have a discussion like this, so that the public knows the cost and what this person will be receiving for being a compliance officer.
This
Just bring it
person,
out to the vote.
this person, Donald Lichty.
You have,
Called
you
zero.
have the
It's called zero. He's doing it for free. He's a volunteer. Donald
Well, why
Lichty.
is the compliance board getting all that money to go through the water and sewer information from
Because
LCA?
it's just like any other board. The Board of Recreation, it's just like the Water and Compliance Board, it's just like the Human Relations Commission, it's just like any other board. He's a volunteer, just like Miss Williams was, and that's it. Can't tell you anything more. Mr. Pearson, welcome.
Dennis Pearson, 942 East Tillman Street, but transitioning to 212 Pinot Road in New Heighton.
Oh, Dennis, don't do that.
Mr. Lichty, I think is qualified for this position, therefore I endorse him, although he's an ancient warrior from way back. But don't take my word for it, because I'm not qualified for anything.
Thank you, Dennis.
Anyone else from the public? All right, we're going to take a vote, Mr. Hanlon.
Okay, on the appointment of Mr. Lichty to the Water and Sewer Compliance Board, his term will expire 5/1/2021. Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Moda?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
And Ms. Sapper?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go for ordinance for final passage. We will be using the iPads for these votes. No more voice vote. Mr. Hanlon, Bill 5, go ahead.
Bill 5 directs the Lehigh County Board of Elections to place a referendum question before the City of Allentown voters on the November 7th primary election ballot to limit the City of Allentown holding a charter to limit the term of office of mayor to 2 terms, and that was amended at a May 31st committee of the whole meeting.
Okay, thank you, sir. This was a committee of the whole, which means every council person was invited to attend. We had 6 out of 7, and the general consensus that evening was that we couldn't vote on it, but the general consensus that evening was we would go forth and bring this to the entire council, basically without a recommendation, but the consensus was there to move forward. At this time, for Bill 5, I'll ask any of my colleagues to, any comments, concerns, issues about Bill 5, which would limit the mayor to 2 terms. 2 terms meaning 2 consecutive terms, 4, or 4, take a break for 4 and come back for 4. 4, take 2 breaks of 4 and come back for another 4. Just total of 8 years like the President of the United States. That's a summation of Bill 5. Comments from my colleagues? Mr. Greedy, go ahead.
Thank you. And I thank my colleagues for voting on this unanimously, because it's something that I've been trying to get through for many years, several years, and all the colleagues, as you mentioned, Mr. President, came together, and and agreed to do this. So this is really good, and I think it's going to be excellent that we have some term limits on this, and just like many other municipalities do, including Bethlehem, and our governor, and also our president of the United States. So I'm looking forward to voting on this.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Anyone else on council?
I'd like
Mr. Hendricks, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too commend my colleagues for making this effort here. And I think the events that have occurred over the last couple of years have shown the necessity for this bill, and actually more so than ever before. Again, the timeliness of this is very current, and I commend the body as a whole. And this does need to move forward, and I'm very confident that this will pass tonight, and any attempt to overturn it will be overridden. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Ms. Apple, go ahead.
I'd like to also make it clear that the sitting mayor is not going to be affected by this. If our sitting mayor wins, he could run again, and it has 2 terms. So this has nothing to do, we as a whole realized an agreement that 8 years is enough time to get what you have to get done in this city. And it alleviates any problems where you would possibly be above the law in many ways, or you can bully, you can have political advantages, so on and so forth. And I think this is the reason we've been wanting to do this for quite a while. And this is why the President of the United States, they do it to stop dictatorship and abuse of power. So, like I said, it has nothing to do with our sitting mayor. It has everything to do with what council believes in. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Apple. Anyone else on council? Seeing none, I'll open it to the public. Bill 5, term limits for the mayor. Yes, Mr. Perry, you were here last week, right?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead. Name and address for the record again.
Hollis Perry, 2244 South Lumber Street, Allentown, South Side. Thank you, Candida, everything like that. And you have a valid point, you know, when unlimited terms, good people get drunk with power and things happen. Term limits for the future of Allentown. Trust you and your knowledge and education in regards to that. I think it's possibly going to be a good thing. My only concern is, or I have some questions actually. Was it always unlimited terms in Allentown for the mayor to have an unlimited term? Is that something that's always been done?
There has never been term limits for the mayor.
Never, no. So this is something, you know, under current situations, we're trying to make a switch to better the future of Allentown. Okay. Okay, I understand that. Okay, that's.
Hold on. The question was asked, there was an answer, so if you want to.
Well, it's a comment to what he said. Personally, I'm not looking at any current situation. I'm looking at, I don't want to blame anybody. I'm looking at it's something I fundamentally agree and think that should be done. Not because of anybody, not because of any situation. I personally think that two terms should be good enough, and we should move on to somebody else.
My only concern with the 2-term situation is the pool of candidates and potential qualified people that can actually run the city. And, you know, we're going to find out, obviously, because this is going to pass. But, you know, I just hope that we can make adjustments along the way to prevent some unqualified people getting elected.
There were 9 people who ran in the primary, 7 on the Democratic ticket and 2 on the Republican ticket. And I would say most of them, if not all of them, were qualified, which we never had 9 before. So the people will be there. There will always be someone who will want to be mayor.
I don't know about the qualifications, but
Oh, that's your opinion, that's my opinion. We're talking about term limits.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the public on term limits? Come on up, man. Welcome.
Hi.
Name and address for the record, please.
Anna Forrester, 334 North Fulton Street, Allentown. With the term limit, I agree somewhat. Well, it's gonna pass, because you guys are gonna agree on it. I know presidential elections, they do 2 terms, 8 years. But on a city level, maybe we could say 3 terms or 2, and then they could come back again. Because sometimes, you start something, and some things do take more than 8 years to do. So maybe we could say they could do 2 terms, then come back, or do 3. Because historically, there wasn't any term limit before. Also, I know you guys are saying it's just because you feel that way, but the way it sounds, when you're sitting down, it seems like it's because of the mayor. Why we're...
Let me interrupt you. If we pass it, what we're passing is, it's not a done deal.
It's what's the
This goes on the ballot on November 7th, and we'll let the entire Allentown voters decide yes or no. This is just to get it on the ballot.
That I understand.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, sitting in the audience and hearing it, it sounds like it's because of him. I saw a young one before that came, it sounds that way.
Can sound any way it wants.
Yeah.
It's the bill is for term limits.
I do understand, but the way it's coming off, it sounded like it's because of the person in play. The same way with the human relations person that we voted on before. It wasn't because of the person, it was because of issues with the mayor. So it seems like you guys are making your decisions based on how you feel about him.
Absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely not true at all. I'm doing what I think is best for the city of Allentown. I speak for myself, they speak for themselves, nothing to do with how I feel about the mayor.
And I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just telling you what is the perception I'm getting.
Perception sometimes is reality, perception sometimes is not reality.
Which is
In my
true.
case,
But that's
in my case, I think it's needed.
That's my opinion.
That's fine.
Also, I know you guys mentioned how the mayor, what he is, or that is what you were speaking before, I'm sorry. And the young man came up before to talk, and even if he wasn't saying the one from the water and so.
Yeah.
I think you were kind of rude in the way you talked.
No, I was not. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what, that gentleman comes every city councilman. I treat everyone with respect. If he wants to follow Robert's Rules of Orders, then he needs to follow Robert's Rules of Order. I was not rude. I was just stating a fact. If I got a little loud, I got a little loud. Okay. I don't apologize for that. I was not rude. You come here every city council meeting, and then you lecture me.
My time, I'm not lecturing you. It's my first time sitting in it, and it sounded bad.
First time.
So my perception hearing it sounded bad. That's how it came off.
Well, I am not rude, and I will continue not to be rude to anyone. They can come up and say exactly what they want to say, but they have to stick to the relevance of the topic. Yes, ma'am. Name and address for the record.
My name is Barbara Redmond. I'm representing the NAACP Secretary.
Thank you.
And the reason why we have concerns is because we're trying to get voters to come out and vote. And the way we feel is that by putting this bill on in office, putting the bill on the ballot this year, it might cause a conflict, and people do not want to be involved in fighting. And I think this might stop a lot of people from coming out to vote, because they're thinking, like the lady mentioned and the other gentleman mentioned, that it's about the mayor, and that's it. And they do not want to be involved in fighting. We're trying to make peace. We're trying to do what's right for the city, and we're trying to get people out to vote, not keep them home. And that's how we do it.
Ms. Affa, go ahead.
Mr. Redmond, can I respond to that?
Yes.
I thought I made it very clear, and you know me personally, and you know that, and I'm speaking for my colleagues too, we've been going over this for quite a long time. This just didn't happen. Other cities do it. We felt very strongly it happened to work out that it's election time, but as Mr. President said, you have the right to vote no to this. And I think that every citizen should come out and vote, whether they like the idea or they don't. And for people to stay home, because we're introducing something, and this is for the people of Allentown to go out and express what you feel. And I'm speaking for my colleagues, I work very hard with them, and we work very hard on this. And when I tell you, and I've said it once, I'll say it twice, and I will keep saying it, has nothing to do with the sitting mayor.
I understand what you're saying, but like she said,
Perception, but listen to us, you voted for us. You voted for us to make decisions. You voted for me, Barbara, I know you did, and you trust me. So that's the whole point, is that you trust us to make the right decision, then you go out and you can vote the way you want on this thing. But for perception is different than trusting us.
I understand
And
what you're
when I
saying.
tell you the truth, I'm telling you something, I'm telling you the truth.
I understand what you're saying, but voters, like the voting debate is down this last for the primary, and we're trying to get people out to vote, and we're not trying to hinder them. And I think people are feeling that this is a part of getting the mayor out.
Well, he won't be out. If you vote for him,
I understand what you're saying.
He's going to be here for another 8 years. You vote for him twice. This has nothing to do, he's still going to be here for another 8 years if he runs this time and wins, and if he runs next time and wins. It doesn't affect him at all.
I understand what you're saying, but it just looks bad. It's just the timing is off. That's all I'm saying.
I'm sorry that.
Yeah, the timing just seems like it's off for us.
Thank you.
Mr. Longley, your name and address for the record, please.
Ken Robinson, 721 West Cumberland Street. I'm very much in favor of this bill. I think it's very long overdue. I was talking to different former council members back in the 90s to try and get something along this line. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public on Bill 5? Mr. Shoup, welcome. Name and address, please.
Good evening, Lou Shoup, 625 North 6th Street. I'm kind of sort of in support of this bill, but that's not what I wanted to state. What I do want to state is that when the time comes, if this does appear on the ballot this November, this may appear to the uneducated voter that people have concerns about the mayor's office. They will see that when they go to the voting booth, and they will see the question, and they will have the chance to vote for the mayor at that time. I'm just saying they're going to think twice.
Interpretation.
Exactly.
Very good point, interpretation. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Hammond, we're going to use our iPads. We're ready to roll here. Carol got them ready. This is for Bill 5.
President, 7 yeas and no nays.
Okay, so this will go to the mayor. And obviously the mayor can veto it. And then if the mayor vetoes it, it comes back to city council and we could override his veto. So the next move is up to the mayor. Okay, Bill 30.
Bill 30 amends the general fund to provide for a supplemental appropriation of $675 from the Allentown School District to the City of Allentown for reimbursement of premium pay costs for teaching CPR classes to the school district.
Okay, thank you, sir. That was in Mr. Hendrick's committee this evening?
Yes, Mr. President. The committee voted 3-0 for a favorable ruling, sent it to the full body for a vote.
Okay. Comments from council members? Comments from the public on Bill 30? Seeing none, Mr. Hanlon will vote on Bill 30.
President, I have 7 yeas and no nays.
Okay, thank you. Bill 31, please, read 31.
Bill 31 provides for the vacation of East Nebo Street from the center line of North Plymouth Street to the center line of North Nelson Street. Vacation was recommended by the City Planning Commission, conditioned upon the existing natural buffer of trees remaining. The Lehigh Valley Planning Commission found the request consistent with the regional transportation improvement plans and offered no additional comments.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McLean, this was in your Public Works meeting a couple weeks ago?
Yes, it was, and it was recommended favorably to the full council.
Okay, thank you, sir. Comments from my colleagues, Bill 31. Comments from the public, Bill 31. Mr. Hanlon, will vote? Bill 31.
Eventually you in, Mr. Green,
Yes, I voted.
President, 7 yeas and no nays.
Okay, Bill 32, Mr. Hanlon.
Bill 32 is another street vacation. It provides for the vacation of South Jute Street from the center line of Montgomery Street to the center line of Cook Street, and it was approved by the planning commissions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McLean was in your committee a week or so ago.
Yes, it was, and then again, it was recommended favorably to the full council.
Okay, thank you, sir. Comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public? Mr. Hanlon, we will vote on Bill 32.
Mr. President, I have 7 yeas and no nays.
Okay, we'll go to Bill 38. Bill 38 is being introduced tonight, and at this point, Mr. Hanlon, read Bill 38, and then we'll call upon Mr. Leitner to come up and explain the need for this bill to be voted on this evening.
Bill 38 amends the 2017 general fund budget by adding the position of plans examiner, 13N in the Bureau of Building Standards and Safety. Position being budgeted at an annual salary of $65,000. It also provides for the transfer of funds from the money saved while the positions of the Community Development Director and Business Development Liaison were vacant in the Director's Office to fund the plans examiner position in the Bureau of Building Standards.
Great, thank you, Mr. Hanlon. Again, this bill is being introduced tonight. The administration asked to vote on it tonight, and we will accommodate the administration. We're getting an explanation why the planner is needed for Mr. Leitner, and then we will have discussion with the council and the public. So Mr. Leitner, tell us the need for this, the immediate need for the planner.
All right, thank you very much. The immediate need for the plan examiners, we've always needed a plans examiner. Right now, my building standard superintendent, he's been responsible, he's the manager for the department, so he's trying to manage and do plans examinations. Thus far this year, we've had over 2,000 plans come in. Each plan has to be reviewed. He does not have time to review plans thoroughly. As you know, the plans examiner's main responsibility is to alleviate the building inspector when they go out, so they don't have as much work to do. We're trying to minimize the amount of time they spend in a place to inspect. So right now, without having a plans examiner, he's only really limited to review the plans at a short term. So it's caused our building inspectors to go out multiple times. So what we do is when the homeowner, the contractor comes in, sometimes the superintendent has to spend at least 15 to 20 minutes out the counter to make sure the application is done properly, to spend time with them to answer questions. So again, this doesn't give my manager time to manage. And we're trying to move forward in our department. The time right now we were giving that the one-stop shop, we try to do plans within 24 hours. And there's just no way we can actually thoroughly review plans effectively and efficiently in 24 hours. So right now we're about 4 weeks behind on plans. Again, as you guys see, the development is going, each and everything that comes in, whether it's a simple residential change or reconstruction in a simple residential to a commercial, each one of those plans have to be reviewed. So I'm asking you at this time to approve the plans examiner so we can, again, get these plans reviewed and get these out the doors and provide better customer service.
So you say you're about 4 weeks behind, okay? And now obviously you want to do tonight unless the need would be great. So look at it on 2 ways. If we as a city encourage development in the city, but we don't have the plan, the staff to review the plans, we're defeating the purpose of saying let's encourage development. not only the engineers, but the south side, east side, the whole bit. So this will speed up the process with this plan.
That's correct. And again, we were saying we're doing one-stop shop to do plans in one day. And we just can't, because again, he's trying to manage. And as Mr. Marshall talked about earlier with our system in Eden, we're really trying to be more transparent and efficient. So we're trying to get these plans into Eden. He's trying to do customer service. He's trying to review plans. He's constantly getting interrupted. And again, we just can't work that way. So we're trying to work on our efficiency. And I think this would help. Again, you know the issue with trying to get building inspectors, but at least this will help us in that process. So when the building inspectors go out there, they have a clean set of plans. The other drawback to that is sometimes plans change. So we'll have the original plans come through. Then as they're doing the construction, something goes wrong, something changes, they have a change in plans, so then those plans have to be reviewed again. So again, having that plans examiner will help.
Okay, thank you. Comments from my colleagues?
I have a question.
Mr. Hendricks, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Leitner, if we should pass this, how long do you anticipate it would take to fill the position?
Right now, we have a couple of candidates in mind, so if the bill is passed, we're going to interview them. Hopefully, I can get this filled within the next 2 weeks, providing that, again, it is passed. We did have a couple of people apply for jobs when we had the building standard safety director position open. We had a couple of people apply for that who have all their certifications and are qualified as plans examiners. So the plan is to bring those candidates in that have already applied for that and see who's the best candidate for that position. So,
Okay. And a follow-up to that, are there any candidates in-house that you feel would be?
We don't have any candidates in-house right now because, again, they have to have all those certifications. It's requiring your building certification, your commercial certification, your accessibility certifications, and right now we don't have anyone in-house that has all of those, except for our manager.
Okay, and just one comment I'm going to make. I will support this because I personally have been contacted by some developers and who are having great difficulty, and they wanted to see if I could do anything to push it through. But knowing the problems you're having, I understand fully, and absolutely, we want to continue with the great progress that's being made throughout the city, and to do that, we have positions that have to be filled. So I understand your quandary there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ms. Zappa? No, nothing. Mr. McLean, go ahead. Ms. Moda?
Thank you. I will also support this, but it will be a plus if the person will be from, from Allentown. It would be nice to hire from within.
Again, it would be a plus, and that's what we would like to do. But again, having those certifications, these are state certifications. There's not a lot of people that have these certifications. So again, trying to fill the position as quick as possible. We do have some candidates that applied for the other position. I believe one is from Allentown. The other ones I don't remember off the top, but we have to go with the ones that are really qualified.
Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Yeah, just a couple of questions, if you would. How many plan submissions did we have in 2016?
I don't have the answer to that, but I get back to you. I just really pulled the numbers from, and that's the other thing we're trying to be more efficient at, is utilizing our system so we can actually track that data, so we can track from the moment it came in to the moment it went out. But I can tell you from year to date, from January to now, we had about 2,000, we had 941 residentials and 1,067 commercial. Again, and some of these plans can be reviewed 2 or 3 times. That's just the original plan coming in itself.
Right, I understand that. Who was doing the reviewing all along?
The manager.
The manager?
Yes. And he's taking work home, he's coming in early, staying late. Again, and just doing short reviews. Again, I don't want to put him in that situation because if something goes wrong with that plan, he loses his license. And I just don't think that's a fair way to actually manage that department. He needs efficient time because sometimes plans can be as simple as a 1-page drawing to 100 pages. So he needs that time to himself to review plans. but again, I don't have a recount from 2016, and I didn't count exactly here how many times these plans have been reviewed.
I'm just trying to get on a handle on as to why in the middle of the year now we're being asked to fund a new position. What's going to happen in January for next year's budget? We're filling it this year with funds from vacancy factor. What are we going to do in January?
My plans are to put it into, my plans are to make it a permanent position and put it into next year's budget. But as of now, again, and looking forecasting out, this is a position that we're going to need with all the development that's coming. When you're looking at, the NIS, you're looking at current Center City, you're looking at down at the waterfront. This position is not going to be a position that.
It sounds to me more like it's a position that's way overdue.
It is overdue.
And I'm just wondering why it took till now, in the middle of the year, for it to come to light. That's kind of my concern.
Yeah.
I would just make one comment, but I'd like to follow up on that. I think Mr. Leitner has only recently gone in that position. And I think it speaks to your knowledge and necessity to address it.
I agree. I still have the same, why did it take so long?
It's only June.
Why someone before him didn't. I mean, you're only in that position for a couple months.
Right, correct.
Prior to that, he wasn't doing it.
And Mr. McLean, Mr. Hendricks, will go to Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with my colleagues. I think you've done a great job foreseeing this. And also, I go a little further. I'd like to actually see that we bring back that type of service back into the city as opposed to using a third-party review. And I tell you, please explore that, because I do get a lot of complaints on how long it takes to get those reviews back. And I think it takes a lot of time. It takes an extra time. You gotta pay, you gotta hire an architect, you gotta pay the architect, and you gotta wait until the third-party review goes through, and then eventually it gets you to open a business if you want to open a business, or if you want to develop something. So I would commend you on it, but I also would like to see if we can explore to have that done in-house, the whole thing, in regards to the review. Because I would support that. I would support this as well.
Thank you, Mr. Grady. Dr. McGuire?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm the chairman of the Community Economic Development Department. Been doing this for a year and a half now. The department is staggering under the large number of vacancies required that are qualified persons that are not being filled, were not being filled. This goes back even before I became involved with the CD department. This is, there was an absence of leadership for various reasons, partly related to some of the points that were made by persons up here on another matter. This is a very professional need. It's clearly tied into to facilitating and accommodating those who wish to do business in the city of Allentown. The financing of this is no change from the current budget because there are so many vacancies for which there was money appropriated, but which has not been filled. A condition which has run across many other departments of the city. So I commend Mr. Leitner for seeing this, coming up with a creative solution, and providing leadership to those who work with him. And I will support this clearly.
Thank you, Dr. McGuire. Anyone else? Ms. Affa?
I too would like to commend you, Mr. Leitner. I agree with my colleague, Mr. Hendricks. We do get a lot of complaints, and I think it was up close between you and I. I have a friend who's trying to rebuild a beauty salon and called me for help. I called you. And this is a constant problem. This is not something that just happens. So up front and close, I'm seeing it, and
I will support this, and I thank you for the job that you're doing also, Mr. Leitner. I think you're doing a very good job.
Anyone else in council?
Yeah, just one more.
Mr. McLean, go ahead.
Yeah, in light of Mr. McGuire's things, and I'm not trying to be the antagonist here because I'm more than likely going to support this anyhow, but how many vacancies do you have in your department that you need to have filled to have an efficient department? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but how many vacancies are we looking at there?
I think about 8 to 10. We went to the vacancy report last week, and it was embarrassing because.
I missed that. I was on vacation.
That's
so,
right.
yeah.
I mean, we went through CEDC, we went through the police, we went through the fire, we went through the paramedics, we went through things, code enforcement, Parks and Rec, and I counted about 75 to 80. So go ahead. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's city services are suffering because the vacancies are not being filled.
And I guess
That's the bottom line, and that's why we're here tonight doing this, and we'll be here again doing it again, and we'll be here again doing it again because Mr. Leitner knows his job. He's doing it very, very well. Okay, and he says I cannot do this with one planner or one manager, and that's why he's here. But you're right.
No, I totally understand that, but, and I just wonder if we had those positions functioning, would we need another position? But I know you want the position, but because it's going to be, come January when come November when we're looking at the budget, it's another position in the budget. So, all right, so we'll look at it then.
Mr. Henry.
Just a quick follow-up, I don't want to belabor this anymore. This is a specific function that this new employee will do, and we have not had somebody specific to this before, correct?
No, we haven't had anyone specific doing it.
He's wearing many hats, in other words.
He's wearing many hats. And again, like I said, for us to move forward in the future and to be more efficient, we cannot have someone doing both.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I think everyone spoke. Okay, comments from the public about Bill 38? No comments from the public. Just for clarification, what we're doing is, it's being introduced and we're voting on it tonight. We need 6 votes for this to pass, not the normal 4 votes, okay? Because we're basically waiving the 2-week period. Okay, normal circumstance in which you would introduce it, you come back, have a committee meeting, come back 2 weeks. We're waiving the 2-week period, but we need 6 votes for this to pass. So any other comments?
I made a mistake on the bill too.
Go ahead.
To your point, it needs an amendment, so it needs a new or by common consent. So you would change section 3 to read, that pursuant to section 218 of the Home Rule Charter, this ordinance becomes effective upon passage by 6 council persons and signed by the mayor.
Okay, that's amendment. Can we do that amendment by common consent? My colleagues, by common consent?
Yes.
So moved. So moved. Okay, now we'll vote on Bill 38.
Okay, Bill 38, Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. McGuire.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
And Mr. Reedy.
Yes.
So we have 7 yeas and no nays.
Okay, Mr. Leitner, I just want to thank you for your continued dedication and commitment and loyalty to the city.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we are now at the point for resolutions for final passage. We have none. Mr. Henry, we're at the point now, ordinance for introduction. These should be referred to the committee with public comment prior to referral. Let's go with Bill 35.
Bill 35 amends the traffic control maps of the city of Allentown.
Thank you. Comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public? Mr. McLean, this is going to Public Works.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Bill 36, sir.
Bill 36 amends the capital fund budget by transferring the available balance from capital project 2200, park improvements, to capital project 2209, back full improvements in the amount of $100,000 to repair the pool roof house at the pool.
Thank you. Comments from my colleagues? Bill 36. Comments from the public? Bill 36. Seeing none, Ms. Moda, let's go to Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And Bill 37, Mr. Hamlin.
Bill 37 amends the general fund budget by appropriating funds from the unappropriated balance of the general fund, the amount of $225,000 for property tax refunds.
Okay, thank you. Comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public on Bill 37? Seeing none, Mr. Greedy, Budget and Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. I got a question.
Aye, on Bill 37?
Yeah.
Aye, come on up, sir.
Yeah,
Sorry.
quick,
Go
real
ahead.
quick.
Take your
Thomas
time.
Perry, 2244 South Plymouth Street. One quick question on the budget, on the parks. Is there any conversation on delaying a park at all?
We did a contract earlier. Okay.
I missed that.
Well,
I missed it. Okay.
hold on a second. We did a contract earlier, 6 o'clock. It was R-118, it was authorization to pay for professional services for Langen Engineering in the amount of $3,800 for a community meeting attendance, concept sketch plan development, and cost estimates for the Valania Park Master Plan. It's just getting the community involved, doing a sketch, see where we want to go, see what the cost analysis would be to move forward for Valania Park.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Thank you.
That's okay.
There'll be public involvement for that too.
I mean, we already.
There's been a couple
there
community
has
meetings.
been, he's been a part of that too.
Okay, so Bill 37 goes to Mr. Greedy, Budget and Finance. Bill 39.
Bill 39 amends the capital fund budget by transferring available funds from capital project 1806, emergencies and sewer repairs, and capital project 1743, mechanical renovations, wastewater plant, to capital project 2201, pool and spray parks in the amount of $500,000 for the renovations at Cedar Beach Pool.
Okay, comments from my colleagues? Our wonderful topic of Cedar Beach Pool. Seeing none, comments from the public? This will go to Ms. Moda, Bill 39.
Thank you.
Parks and Rec. Resolutions for introduction, but we're going to introduce these and we're going to vote on these tonight. Mr. Hanlon, read R-123.
R-123 is an authorization for the encroachment of a handicap ramp at 1224 West Tillman Street. It was okayed by all the appropriate bureaus. The only problem is that it extends 1/3 into the right-of-way and needs council approval.
Okay, and it was approved by all the bureaus. Bureaus went through it. Mr. Berger's shaking his head. Mr. Messenger shaking his head. I see Nelson shaking his head. Any comments from my colleagues about R-123? Seeing none. Comments from the public, R-123. Seeing none, Mr. Hamlin, call a vote.
Okay, Mr. McGuire.
Yes.
Ms. Mota.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa. Yes. Mr. Greedy.
Yes.
Ms. Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
That's what he is, no names.
Okay, R-124.
R-124 is the same deal, and this authorizes an encroachment at 134 to 160 Hamilton.
Okay, and again, it was approved by all the bureaus. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Comments from my colleagues on R-124? Comments from the public on R-124? Ms. Allen, call a vote on R-124.
R-124, Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
Mr. Greedy.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. McGuire.
Yes.
That's 78 to 30.
Okay, thank you. Anything under new business? Seeing none, anything for good and welfare? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Okay, second, by common consent. Have a good evening. Thank you for coming. I will see you on June 21st.